Sakuems here. So it's a new tutorial for you. This week's video is going to be how to color lips. So this video is going to be about purple, pinky lips, kind of like my Shadow's daughter artwork, if you remember her. And I really liked working on those like lips because this is just a really special color. There's a lot of almost like a special effect, kind of like iridescent color, and it's kind of hard to achieve this look with non-iridescent or non-metallic colors. So yeah, that's gonna be the video. If you want to see how I color this, and I'm gonna draw a real-time version on these lips. If you want to see how I did it, just keep watching and I'm gonna go straight into it, explain to you what you'll need and jump into the tutorial. So let's go. So first thing first, what you'll need is markers. I'm using Copic Markers. You can use any kind of brand of alcohol markers as long as you have enough colors. You're going to need some marker paper. I'm using, as always, the JNK Design Pure Luxury cardstock in white this time. If you can find the Expressive Blending card, it's a better paper, but you know, just grab your regular marker paper. For this technique, there's a lot of layering involved. So I will stay away from layout paper because there's I'd say probably 6 layers, almost 7 layers of color on this, and layout paper tends to really be hard to blend when you had more than 3 to 4 layers. So make sure to use some sort of thick Bristol board or anything like that. So materials needed. Your paper. So what you're going to do basically, this is just a scrub version that I did to practice, and remember the colors I picked from my artwork because I wasn't really sure. So that's the scrub. That actually looks good, but I wanted to try it out before. So we're going to try to do the same thing, and this tutorial basically is just telling you what colors you can choose and how you can blend them and how well they combine. And when you really if you can do the same thing, you can then do it with any other colors. You can combine, instead of combining purples and blues and pinks, you can combine blues and greens. You can combine reds and pinks, or start with yellow and greens. You know, you can just have fun. So you'll need so this is our basic model, and what I'm gonna do with you is basically do a real-time coloring. So if I mess up, that's just that's because it's real-time, so you'll never know what's gonna happen, but I think I'll be good. So you'll need that. As for the colors, I'm using 2 ranges because I also want to tell you a little bit about shading around the lips. So there's a skin color involved and then the lips color. As for the skin color, you'll need some sort of skin gradient. It doesn't have to be the one I'm using. I'm personally going to use the E00, E21, E33, E35 for the skin coloring, and then B60 for the teeth because this is not white. When you color, it gets really darker, under the lips, behind, not between the lips. So your teeth are never purely white, and it's white only if you're in bright light. So just pick any light gray or some light purpley color. B60 I think is great. It's pale blue gray, so that will work out for this. So that's our our skin gradient. You'll need some sort of color. You can use 2 or 3, that really depends. It's just a practice shading, so you don't really have to, you know, it's okay if it doesn't match perfectly. So that's our skin gradient. Also, the lips colors, there's a lot of them. Here's my gradient that I picked. Like always, you don't have to get the exact same color. That's why I have them labeled here. As long as you have your blue violet, some bright color, especially purples and pinks, and then some darker color to shade the shadows, that's good. I have basically a neon pink, which is RV04. If you don't have RV04, you can use RV06. That's, you know, that's the basic super neon pink. You don't exactly need it, but that's just the best to get this result. It's just that you probably just at least need one like purple, one pink that is really bright, and some sort of blue, violet just to tone it down a little bit, and some darker colors. If you only have half the colors, you know, like one here, one here, one here, as long as you get the three shades like purples, pink and blues, you're good to go. This is just for comfort. V04 is a must-have because that's really just that bright purple that you're gonna have almost everywhere on your lip. Just fix this one. That's just like this is almost like 50% of the color. So that's really like a must-have. I'm gonna have like some sort of check mark. You really need this one. I suppose you need this one. This could help, this as well. Any kind of darker purple is good, and at least one of those. That's probably like the minimum you'll need is at least 6 color. And if you get more or colors that are similar to this, that's good as well. And the last thing you'll need are colored pencil. I'm using the Polychromos by Faber-Castell, which is the brand that I use all the time. So that's what I used, 3 colors right here. I'm gonna use, this is the Ivory Faber-Castell Polychromo. That is a way for me to bring more lights. You don't really need the fancy color pencils. It can also be a transparent white if you have one, any kind of really, any wax base or oil based pencil is enough. You can, if you don't have like pencils, you can just use a regular like jelly roll white pen, but anything really that can bring a bit more highlights on top of your lip, and just to add some sort of depth and make it a little bit edgier, and you know, just to define some of the texture. It really is easy when you work with Copics to, you know, go too dark sometimes. So with this you can bring a bit of highlight back, and that's going to help you build up the three-dimensional look that you want. And as for color highlights, you can use any kind of light purple, and if you want to have a bit more bright color even in the darkest spot, I'm using a really bright blue. That's optional, like I said. If you just have any kind of highlight pen, like I'm using also a white pen, but if you just have a white pen, that's just fine, you know. And if you have all those colors, that's also good. So that's the Faber-Castell Polychromos. I will scan the finished lips, and I will include the link in the description below so you can download it and look at it closely. And now I'm gonna start coloring this. I prefer to go from dark to light, so every layer and every color has to have its own transition to be really fully blended with another color. Because if you do, well, unless you really want harsh lines, but if you want to achieve a smoother look, you'll need more colors, or at least something to link them, you know. So that's why when I recommend having all those colors, it's just because it's easier to blend than having just like 2 or 3, you know. Let's start off with the coloring. The first color I've used on this scrap paper is RV55, which is my basic light pink. This is my model, and I'm going to use this just as reference. You can see that this upper lip basically is thicker, and it has the highlights, and this upper lip has shadows. So I don't need to have this RV55 on my upper lip because it's going to be darker than this. So if I put color on my upper lip, even though I don't need it, I'm gonna get the paper saturated, and it's gonna be harder to blend and add more colors on top. Always make sure that you don't put the color where you don't need to. That's why it's important to define your highlights. I can just do this. Let's say I want my lights to be right here. Just picture like this is the pencil that is projecting light. So if it's coming from here and goes down here, that means here is gonna be lighter, you know. This is my like light hitting point. There's also a tiny bit of light hitting right here, and then everywhere else, especially right here underneath, it's gonna be darker. So if I know where my light points, my light it's basically, this is easier for me to place my colors, you know. So I'm gonna try to do that, and it's okay, just have pencil, but basically this is where my light point is gonna be, and I'm gonna color that area really just like randomly, a few strokes, trying to follow the shape of the lip, you know, like flicking motion kind of thing, like, you know, kind of flicking motion. Just had some pink right here, and just had some pink right here. Nothing crazy because this is gonna be covered. I'm always coming on top. It's okay if you mess up the lines because this is gonna be blended. So just come on top and like until you really get the darker color that you can get. You need at least 2 or 3 layers. You can see that this is way dense, like it's more concentrated in the center, and on the outer edge this is a little bit lighter. That's the best option because this is where you're gonna have your other color mixing, and it's always easier to mix when you have less opacity. That's easier for me to grab than my RV04. That's my major like neon color, and it's going to be easier for me to blend those two together because they're going to be mixing almost automatically, I suppose. And this is my neon like color. Like I said, you don't need like both of them, but I feel like it's just some sort of, basically the RV55 is going to mute the color, like the brightness of RV04. So that's why I like it, because this is not pink lips. They are like neon purpley lips with pink highlights. So that's why I don't want like this bright neon pink everywhere. Anyway, now you don't need any more of the RV for now. You're going to switch to your V04. And just keep in mind that you may have to go back to RV55 just to blend it with the V04. But what I'm going to do right now is, it's hard to explain. I'm just going to do it. And you're basically going to go all around it. This is your basic color. This is the majority of your lips. As long as you come on top, kind of flicking like the brush, don't go like all over it because it's going to be really muddy, but just go around it. That's gonna have it's kind of like glazing, you know, the surface, because you're gonna apply a transparent, like Copic Marker transparent, you know. So you're gonna have a transparent color, and the pink is still showing through, you know, and you also have the purple showing through. So that's why it's great. I'm actually pretty happy with the blending so far. I don't need to come back with my colors. So I set this aside. I'm gonna switch to my BV04 and BV02. Sorry. Oh, that's not BV04. That's BV13. What's BV04? Messed up completely. Yeah, BV04 is probably too dark. Hang on. Let me fix that. It's BV13 right here. You can use BV04, but it may be too dark. So BV13. Sorry guys. So what you're gonna do now is work your darkest spots. So remember when I say that the light spots were here, that means anywhere on the opposite direction. So right here is gonna be where you'll have your darkest spots, and I want to have a bit more blue right here. So that's what I'm gonna do, and just follow your lines, you know, like all around here. Think that they are in 3 dimensions. It's okay if you just touch the lips, and don't go like everywhere. You're gonna have to add a bit more pink, but that's just helping making this blue purpley undertone, because you're going to come on top with another color. So that is really blue. Switching on to BV02 this time. That's just a way for me to add a bit more of a lighter undertone, especially where the light, it's just to blend things together. You don't have to use it, but I really like it. And you can also use it to shade the teeth and the skin, just to smoothing out. You don't really have to use it, but I like it. Switching out now to RV66. So that's the raspberry color. I love it. And that is gonna be your darker color to start shading the darkest spot of your lips. Now this is where it gets tricky because this color is really dark. When I shade, I have to make sure that I leave enough room to be able to bring back lights, and also I have to leave enough room because if I want to blend them, you can see this is not blended, you know. If I want to blend this, I'm gonna have to switch back to V04. And if I don't have enough room, that means basically all my medium colors are already doomed because I have my darkest color everywhere. I have to make sure that I leave enough space for me to blend the two together, almost like linking them, connecting. That's basically blending them, and this is the only way for me to do it is if I have my markers ready with me and I switch back from a color to another and keep layering color. You see where I put my blue undertone right here? When I come on top, it's getting darker already because I have this blue undertone that is darker. It's just helping me to blend everything, and yep, that's basically it. I still have two colors, two darker color right here, so you are not finished, guys. There's many layers involved in this, and as long as you gradually shade, and also just look at some lip like photos, you know. I always have this in mind, and you'll get more comfortable doing this after like doing, I don't know, like 10 or 20 lips. You'll see where is the light point, where your shadows might be. It just comes within time, you know. So I have my darkest spot. I can already come with RV69, which is more of a pink. It's more like, that's not exactly a purple, it's more like a dark pink. So I can come on top right here, and this just gonna add a bit more color. Remember that the upper lip is usually darker, and it's okay if it's messy, just you can always blend, you know. That's why I specifically ask you to get some sort of thicker bristle, because it's easier to shade and blend, because you can add so many layers, you don't have to worry. Come back with your RV66. It's always that when I blend and shade with Copics, like, I'm not even kidding you guys, all my markers are open. I keep switching back from a color to another one. It's always like that. And this is just the only way to really get something cool if you want to add a three-dimensional look to your artwork. And if you want to, like, let's say I don't have enough blue, I can always come back, and it's just how it is. I can't give you any more tips. But yeah, it's all about blending, and if you have like 2 hour shadows, you can always come back with like your V04 right here, blending in a bit more. I really like this paper. Blending it even more, coming on the up, like the what is it called right here, the bottom line. Always like blending colors, getting on the darkest shade right now. And this is where it's getting a little bit complex because your paper is already saturated. Just don't put too much of this, only on your darkest area. If it doesn't really like gets absorbed by the paper, it's okay, just put a tiny amount. I'm doing this right here because I want to add like this three-dimensional look to the lips, and this is how it is. So you get like this plumping effect. You can also define the texture a little bit. Looking good so far, especially because I'm doing this while I'm speaking. Oh my god. I hope I'm making sense. I'm just trying my best to like explain to you while doing this. So yep, that's good. Getting back to my RV66 just to blend everything. Adding a bit of texture. And V04. can also like add sharper lines, like tiny lines. This is just to help with the texture of the lips, you know. And if you want like, I don't know, like more blues because there's just like too much purple, you can always like have a deeper purple, like a deeper blue. Let's find a blue, like BV02. Let's find a BV02. No, not this one. BV0, no, but not BV, B02, like an actual blue. Let's see, like you can always come on top. And this is gonna add a bit more blue. That looks not bad. That like looks kind. It's like I said, it's hard to do it while I'm talking. But it's a little bit darker than my previous version, but that's fine. I suppose you can call this like purple lips with a pink highlights. So for the skin, I suppose there's just like three major things. The first thing is that on your lips, I think like a corner, it's getting darker right here. And your lip right here is like really like plump, like it's really just like thick. So that means underneath here, the skin is also darker. And here is your cupid's bow, and that's also a little bit darker and with a bit of highlights on the other side, depending on your light source. So I'm gonna try just to basically shade, and I'm gonna start with my E35. Like I said, just it's a little bit darker right here, and also like right here on bottom lip, this line, it's getting darker. It's just like some basic tips, you know, just to help you if you want to shade also like an actual face, you know. Switching on to my E33, which is a little bit lighter. And you remember that, I mean, like, it depends on the paper, but I always come like slightly on top of the color because it's gonna help blending them. Switching on to E21, gonna push the colors together. You know, this is getting a little bit lighter right here, and yep. It's just some basic coloring just to help, like, you know, help you figuring out the like the three-dimensional look of the actual lips. And you can always come darker if you want, but I don't have anything darker. You know, like an actual really dark brown right here, just to help creating this depth, you know. And you have your lips for the coloring, like Copic coloring part. Last thing you have to do if you want to have the plumping, really like 3D effects, is adding highlights. So I'm going to start with my pink and blue because yeah, I kind of washed out the blue first of all. You can see a hint of the purple right here, and then it's mostly pink. And I still want some blue back. So with this pencil, what it does is basically, it is so opaque that when I come on top, it's gonna be an actual blue. You know, it's not gonna blend with anything underneath. So I can always come right here and add like an actual darker blue, and almost creating the texture with it, like the texture of the lip. You know, like those like really narrow, like strong lines that you have here and there. And you can always use like a lighter blue if you want. I'm just adding this in the dark, like in the shadows, just to bring this blue back. Like you can see how much like blue it's almost neon on the camera. I don't even know what's happening. And I always I can pick like some sort of lighter blue, even a turquoise if you want. Like if I grab like some sort of super bright blue, you can always use this as the highlights right here. This is helping that three-dimensional look that you want, you know. Just help. It's not realistic, you know what I mean? Because you can't really have that on actual lips. But it's just helping you out, creating the depth that you want. And you can remember that this here is our light spot. Like this is where the light is. And if you want to bring the three-dimensional look, you can always have some sort of highlight even in the shadows, because this is what's going to help define the lips. And and had this really like plumping effect and three-dimensional effects. I'm always talking about three-dimensional effects, but that's what you want to achieve. If you want to achieve this look in a drawing, that's exactly what you have to do. To bring this three-dimensional look is adding highlights and hit points of lights and shadow and playing with the depth. It's something you will learn, but you know, I can't really give you any more tips. But yeah, final stage for me with pencil is the ivory pencil, and this is what's gonna help bringing lights on my highest, I suppose, light hit points, like hit spot right here. This is my light source, like directly hitting right here. You can add a bit more right here. It's almost like a lip gloss effect, you know. You can also add it right here. You can always use white if you don't have like a cream color or like an ivory, but I feel like it works better with this because it's not as like strong, and you can always come with actual white after, which is what I'm gonna do. I have a white pencil, but I want this to be really opaque. Back to the Sakura overal, and this is where you're gonna have your actual like super bright light spot. I'm just putting like some dots right here, just creating the texture. You can also like smudge it with your finger. I can add like a little bit right here, and this is creating this like lip gloss effect. You can always like draw some lines for the lips and put a little bit on top. It's nice to create texture, you know. So this is how it looks. That's the final stage of the lips. So this is how they look. Like you can see that there's the blue, there's the purple, there's a nice texture. It has this watercolor effect. Sometimes when you blend with Copic, it does that, and I actually don't mind. It really creates the texture. It just gives more dimension to the artwork. And you can see that this has a strong hitting points, like light points, but it's not like too strong. And that's just basically how I can do purple iridescent lip. And I hope you'll find this interesting. I know it's kind of long. I hope it wasn't too boring. And yeah, remember to just have fun practicing with colors. It's always nice to practice. Pick your colors. Try blending. You can always get better if you practice. And if you have any requests, if you want me to do the actual how to draw lips, because it's already set up like with a lot of explanation. If you want me to do the how to draw lips, I'll do it next month. Like I said, I wanted to do a coloring tutorial this time, so that's why I didn't do like draw and color together, but because it's too long. But yeah, if you want me to do the how to draw lips or any kind of hover how to draw or how to color, post a comment below, let me know, and we'll try to do it. I'm gonna do like a tutorial every month, so if it's a tutorial, it's gonna happen like somewhere in May. And yeah, that's pretty much it, guys. Hope you'll enjoy everything, and if you have any questions, if you like didn't get something, just post a comment below. I'll try to answer it. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Thank you everyone who's watching this, and I'll see you next week. Bye bye everyone.